In Martin Fowler's really important book, Refactoring, he asks the question, when should you refactor? And the answer is the rule of three, ideally on the third time. This is something that we do in this live coding session is we take the helper that we made last time. I was very excited about it. And it looked great, but as we try to use it in more than one place, we discover the shape needs to change, the naming needs to change, and these are things we wouldn't have discovered if I'd just gone ahead and published it as a Swift package for the world. So it was really good to follow the rule of three. Check it out in this recording of live coding session. Okay. We have a quorum. Mudshark is here and John Irving is here. Hello, folks. What's the quorum level? Whatever I think it is. I normally just wait a couple minutes to give folks a chance. If this is all we do, this is all we do. And last time, Mudshark, with just you and me, man, we had a great time. John, I'll catch you up. For folks who are watching after the fact on YouTube or on Twitch, welcome. My name is John Reed. I am a coach, a technical coach. I do process coaching as well, but I'm working right now as a developer. I'm back in the developer role and enjoying that. There's that. There are these. Come. Last time, so Mudshark and I did two things last time. One was that following this, saying let's add a rule saying don't add the given, when, then, or arrange, act, assert comments in tests. Who needs that? We did that, but then the generative AI said, would you like me to add a grep to something to make sure I don't do this? And I thought that was really good, and it is part of the whole, I think, emerging vision of how to use generative AI well, and that is to have deterministic guardrails around its non-deterministic whatever it spews out. So like that. The other cool thing that we did, we didn't test it. Oh, that's a good thing. Why don't we try that right now? That is a fine idea. Like if I just go to a test, here, I'll just go like this. Huh. I don't like this. Thank you for the idea to test it. Wow. Silly me. Never trust a test you haven't seen fail. So let's see if we can't clean this up. What's dirty in here? Oh, of course, that's what's dirty in here. The thing I just did. Look at that. No. Now let's do it again. Much better. All right, let's commit that. That's good. Great idea. Improve output of test failure rule. Push, reset, and back to the recap. All right. So the other thing, thank you much, Art. This is why pairing is so important, even if in this um, pseudo pairing environment that we have, even this is better than working solo. And by better, I mean you get better results sooner. Better or worse is completely subjective. You need to say better for what, or worse for what. We extracted a new view inspector helper. This was fun, and I'd like to massage this in. So, for example, if I just mess up this that right there and say, we're looking for check button X, and it's going to say, there ain't no check button X. Where will it report it? It'll report it deep in the bowels of View Inspector because it is a thrown error. Now here we can see which tests failed. That is... Why is it making a liar out of me? Maybe it's this particular thing. Let me try again. It's making a liar out of me. Do we have... Let's see where else we use this. Maybe a simpler test. Round number. How about this? Let's see what this does. And now let's make it round number X to break it. There we go. And it's like, we have failures. Search did not find a match. And we're deep inside of View Inspector at this point. So let's massage this in. Here, let's reset hard again. Before we go on any further, let's massage it in and get it in use wherever we have, wherever we're doing a search for the view, searching for a view using the accessibility identifier. That would be all these. This needs to come out. I mean, let's just start using it. It's non-private, so it should be okay, but really needs to belong somewhere. I've been wondering where to put this, and it probably belongs in its own package because I'd love people to be able to use it. But let's start using it, and we might shake out some odd things. Yeah. Let's see how it goes. So inspect and find. Oh, that's part of the problem. It's doing find. Hey, Michaela. This is doing find directly. Okay, we might have to think about this a little bit better. Whereas this is doing inspect and find. And maybe this is overreach. I'm thinking this is overreach because, yes, this worked for this case here, but it's not going to work well if we already have done inspect and we're just calling find. Okay, let's refine this. I think I know what we're doing today. Oh, get out of here, Michaela. Something, something, single responsibility. Yes, sir. Michaela. Gee. Have a great time. Okay. So we need a name that's not going to clash. Since this is just an extension on a view, and that is assuming we want it to be in the same flow without having to, being able to chain calls, kind of like this, inspect and find, and do whatever else. All right. So yeah, publishing this as a package, premature. Let's explore. What to do? Because inspect. Oh. So inspect is an extension on view, but find is an extension on an inspectable view. Doing this in parallel, and here, should the Gen AI do this? I don't think so. I think it would get lost, quite frankly. In the feedback peg color, So this gives us the shape that we want, that it's an extension on inspectable view. And if we say we don't say extension, extension, it might like us a little better. I was thinking about, like, would it make sense to open a pull request against View Inspector to add some of these, but especially maybe to add to find itself the call site. The problem with that is I imagine they're trying to move away from XC test, and we don't want to sprinkle in all this XC test stuff here if they're going to move to Swift testing anytime soon. So for the time being, it'll be our own fun little thing. Just needs a name. Find by how about that? That way we have distinguished what we're finding by in case we want more of these, but we're not repeating the name because the external name is nothing. With this, I'd be able to do a parallel change right here. like that. Make sense? I think this'll fly. Let's do our half TCR from Xcode. And this is a let's see, and this throws, yeah, it rethrows. Okay, cool. So now I should be able to say, instead of inspect and find, we can do inspect like that. This should be lovely. And now this goes away. Sometimes it's just easier to go by hand without Gen AI. It's good to lean fully into Gen AI like for a day to get the hang of it. This is provable. But to find the balance, what's faster if I just do it? Like, how long would it have taken Gen AI to do this? It's a very localized change. The AI is great for broad changes. Man, it was really good when I just took a project and I said, change all the tests from XE-test to Swift testing. Now, it needed help. It didn't get it right away, and that's part of the problem. But then it just kind of went through and did it suite by suite, and it was way faster than me doing it myself. Yeah, Mudshark points out, being able to describe these things, well, that's where using the precise words, the names of refactorings is helpful because books were illegally copied and fed into the training, and hopefully I'll be getting a nice healthy check for my book at some point. That means it's also been trained on Martin Fowler's books. So it'll know if the more you're able to use precise names of precise refactorings and say, and if it doesn't know right away, give it a clue that this is from Martin Fowler's refactoring. It'll be spot on. And so that's one of the reasons I think it is becoming more useful again, to become a real expert in extreme programming. So, find by accessibility identifier. This is shaping out nicely. Now let's go back here and that is the other half of the equation, John points out, is that it is very happy to spew out poor code. And I don't mean it doesn't work, which sometimes it doesn't work, right? Quite often it doesn't work. And you have to go, try again, get frustrated, eventually try a different way, and then it figures it out, and then it's actually helpful. But because it was trained on code that is not up to, I would say, XP standards, it's happy to spew it out. And that's why we apply the extra rules, and that's why it is so important to still be in the driver's seat. Yeah, yeah. So the refactoring becomes big. Peg shape. I haven't seen that yet, but I've heard other people say that like it'll just like change the test so that it passes. So I ought to be able to say find view with accessibility, or is it find by? Find by accessibility identifier, like that. And that will work. Hey, Griot speak. Welcome, first time chatter. I think you were asking about the thing that popped up. Here, let's see it again, and I'll check with you. So here, now that this has the notion of a file and a line, we want to pass those in. So using my code snippets, which you can get by subscribing to qualitycoding.org. It just does that. It's a little long, a little wide, so we'll do that. Then here we say file, line. Okay, now Griot speak. I love is it Griot? Griot? It's the wisdom speaker, right? The storyteller, the preserver of knowledge and history. Griot. All right. So now like if I do peg shape, let's see it pass maybe. I mean, let's see it fail. Here, I'm just going to run all the tests because it's fast. I'm used to, when you're in a large project, you know, usually it's nicer to just run the suite you're working in. And Xcode has improved that a lot by having the test diamonds float so that you can easily access the test diamond for run the whole suite. Unless you've added an extension because you're like, I want all helpers to be in something else. I don't want them in there. And then when you're down in a helper, you lose the floating test diamond. So that's a reason not to have an extension on your test suites, but instead just keep it all together so you can get at it. Okay, let's so this curiously fails. So it fails well there, but it does show that it's a little awkward, and the reason why just throwing an error is easier. You can just throw an error and it'll appear wherever. But it is better. It is better to keep passing the file information, the source code location around, because now the test failures ought to move up to, didn't it? Did it not? There we go. I don't quite trust this, so we're going to do the thing that the Xcode had to build in, which was kind of funny, but it is useful. It's funny that you should have to clear out test results. But there it is. There we go. So now that's appearing nicely right there and saying it can't find feedback 999. Let's change this back to peg. Now we'll get back to what GrioSpeak was asking about. I'm gonna run tests, and I have a behavior set up that when the test succeeds, it runs a script. That is what you're about to see in action. The script on when it runs pops up this thing because I happen to be using Arlo's commit notation. You can change it to whatever clues you want, but find by accessibility identifier. Now when I do a commit, it does a commit and a push. These come from, let's see, here. So these are my scripts for doing TCR, test and commit or revert. I happen to be doing what we call half TCR, I guess. It's not reverting on test failures, which is a great and fun way to operate, but that's not what we're doing right now. I use it as a shortcut for if the tests run, commit. There are two versions. There's commit here and commit and push. Just get it in there. Push, push, push. So that is the long-winded answer to your question. Hope that helps. Hope it's informative. Check it out. Play with the scripts. Try them out. One of the bummers is that with the new version of Xcode, Xcode 26, the lovely and easy to use settings here have been ruined. When people pointed it out, they immediately said, you know, how much worse it is. But for me, it's even worse because I want to be able to turn this on and off depending on which project I'm working in. I don't want necessarily to do this. And it is much worse experience because there is no checkbox anymore. You have to add a script or delete it. So look forward to that once we start using the new version of Xcode. Test errors? You mean with the new Xcode? Funny that it didn't update this. That's where you say, where is it? I want to synchronize it with here, refresh file status. Because Xcode, the pop-up, I think it was problems with the test errors also with the pop-up. Not sure. We'll find out. All right, back to our continuing quest. So we have a number of these. Here, let's do this one next. Kind of think that Copilot would pop in. It looks like Copilot went out to lunch or something. That I had to do all that. Okay, and that leaves, there's the one we want to keep. Here are the ones we want to update. Same drill. Since it's not helping us, we'll do it ourselves. And one at a time, John. Oops. I forgot to put in the code for the refactoring. Oh well. Now that, I do like to try to honor the width that I have set, which is probably like 120 characters. But I don't know. That just spills over by just a little bit. That might be pedantic. At work, we have hard limits, I think. Not hard limits. It's using Swift format or Swift lint. Oh. You don't. You're not enjoying the new iOS. Well, I'm gonna have to burn that bridge at some point. Let me get this in. And let's see what this looks like if I find by, I don't know. Not going to be pedantic about that. Here's the last use. One thing I'm definitely not doing is updating my mother-in-law's device. Everything is big. Um, not only would she be confused by any changes, especially not just like the changes in appearance. I don't want to update anything for her because things will move around on her. But I am hearing that the glassy stuff can really interfere with visibility, although I wonder how it is if you then adjust other accessibility settings. Use helper. Cool. Mudshark, where'd everybody go? I leave for a couple weeks and like, wow, hey, there's Eric. I was just wondering where people were. It's good to see you yesterday, even if we didn't get a chance to chat. So, uh, look forward to the new iOS. Um, so now we should have just one use of this. This is our helper. Eric, check this out. Because this view inspector call throws an error, and so and this is the one that throws most often, especially doing TDD, to say, I want to find an accessibility identifier that doesn't exist yet, and you end up, because it throws, you end up deep inside a view inspector with a message saying the view wasn't found. But it's hard to tell so where it is. So all we did was add a wrapper around it to do the classic do catch. Nice thing is that we can rethrow the error and we get a clean message about this is where the problem is on this line. What about other uses of find, I wonder? There's a lot of view with ID. I don't know that we necessarily need this everywhere. And yet view with ID sure popped up a lot. It feels like that might be another case. Also think that this belongs somewhere else, although if I put it in a package, then it definitely will be somewhere else. Debating whether or not to put this in to add a find by ID. What do you think of the name, by the way? View find by accessibility identifier. Should it be find view with accessibility identifier? It's a mouthful, but it's precise. Is that better or worse than find by? I don't know. I'm starting to lean towards be precise and say find view with. Find, so that we can have different uh, things. Should it say find view? Let's try it, right? One thing that I noticed about people who aren't familiar with kind of the habits, the patterns, the skills of pairing and ensemble programming is like I was having a discussion on Friday with a colleague over Zoom, trying we were discussing code, and he was like, what about this? And I was saying, what about that? And I said, okay, hold on. Can we just try it and see? And he didn't like that idea at first. I'm like, just bear with me so that just to be absolutely clear about what it looked like rather than describing it with words. And the other thing with that's a good rule is don't argue about code. Try it and see which you like better. So let's try renaming this. Not using Windsurf a lot today because I don't want to do a rename when Xcode will do it for me. Let's try, coder's block. That's a good way to put it. Find view. With here's a secret of renaming is that with Xcode's rename, you can rename parameters. Much harder to do, unfortunately, with an initializer. But with a regular old function, you go like that, and then we can. It's kind of nice. We can see it in place here, and we can decide find view with accessibility, find view by accessibility identifier, find view. We can say find view. There we go. I think that's a little better. Yeah. And then we can have different find views. Liking this. Hope you like it too. Come on. Thank you. Like Xcode just blinked out for a second there. All right, so that is an automated refactoring. There we go. So now we should be able to make a very similar find view by ID. And it was up here, wasn't it? Yeah, view with ID. So this is find. This is view with ID. This will be ID, like that. Let's lock this in. Ah, view with ID not found. Yes. View with very nice. So now let's do this in one shot. Since we're operating inside of a single class, so we want find view. ID like that. And hopefully, whoop, not that one. There we are. Let's see how the others look. I wish I could see without bringing up the mini map, a little indication of where the changes are. I don't like the mini map. All right, find view, ID, blah, blah, blah. Let's suits me fine. There was one place where I think we have a helper. And here we can do the helper. Okay, one shot. It is odd, and maybe that's the naming of it. Because these are fine. SUT, inspect, find view, ID, all good. But that suggests that this name is not ideal. Let's see here. So it's the first closure argument. And the closure is here. I have not yet. I haven't done hardly any navigation. So I don't know how hard it is. So this is the type. It's the inspectable view. It's what you get by calling inspect. So maybe we ought to rename those. Let's just try it and see. Is that better? View, it is odd to say view, find view. I think it might be a little clearer to say inside of this helper, what do we get? We get the inspectable view. Thoughts, comments? Let's see where else we're using this. I think that's better. It's more precise. I do find myself at work using this a lot more than, oh, it's not even going to let me rename it. But I use like rename sparingly when I'm in a giant project, because Xcode goes off and says, well, let me go find everything about this. And it's especially bad when it's like, and I found it also in all these other strings. And especially when it's a common name, something very short, like ID. And it's like, oh, it's everywhere. So I find myself using this change in scope more. I'm liking this. Almost there, bear with me. There we go. Looks like we're done. Yo! First time chatter. Enoxidus. Welcome. Yeah, exactly, Mudshark. If the build messes up, then you know. So it's the old thing of like, do it this way except under these circumstances, because we're engineers. So this was improve cool. Well, we haven't done a single thing on our ever non-ending task of laying out multiple rounds in Mastermind, but we have done a bunch of good stuff. Let's do our retro and try to sum up what we did. First thing was that the helper was too much. Split, inspect, and find into just find view. I mean, split sounds funny, but basically it's more like narrow, inspect and find to just find view. And that was this happens a lot when is try not to optimize something from one use. Even two is questionable. The rule that Martin Fowler shares in the refactoring book is 3 strikes and you refactor. That's the ideal. I want to restate that. Sort of avoid premature refactoring without multiple uses, because the multiple uses really informs you. Yes. Keep improving names. We did a lot of that, didn't we? I didn't use windsurf one lick today. Just because you have AI doesn't mean you have to use it always, because some things are just faster if you don't. The trick is to find the balance. Find what it's good at, find what you're good at, share the load. Any other thoughts on what we did? Look at this. I'm tempted to join this. Looks like it will fit on one line, but I like the pattern that it sets up. That if we want a different find view, it's easy. You copy, you change a few things. So going once, going twice. Any other thoughts? Sold. All right. Thank you for joining this week. In a few weeks, I'm going to be invaded by family for a few months. I haven't discussed this, and I'll figure it out once everyone moves in. I'm talking like grandkids. Yeah, grandchildren, plural. I suspect that I will still need this time as a sanity. I don't want to stop streaming, especially because it's just 1 hour. I think the family can live without me for a little bit. So I hope to continue this. If anything changes on that front, I will let you know. All right. Thank you for joining. Thank you for helping me. Mudshark, thank you for asking. It does? Thank you, John. I'll update that. Well, that might be part of why people aren't joining. But Mudshark, thanks especially when we talked about the grep check. Did we say it fail? No. And so we didn't have a chance to adjust the error message. So really, really cool. All right. Thanks very much. Folks who are watching after the fact on YouTube, hey, give it a like. Subscribe if you're interested in more of this. And folks on Twitch, hey, follow me. Thanks for watching. Take care.